I got to become a musician was that when I was at school, most kids did, they wanted to play an instrument. And my dad, God bless me, God bless him, it was all right actually in that respect, you know, because it was, I wasn't interested, I was still at school. And he built me a two-chest bass, which was colossal, amazing really, but he did. Because it was a sort of silly thing, you know. Anyway, as luck had it, I don't know how it happened, but Clive, was the guitar player in the band, Clive Crawford, in the band, said, we're going to the Two Eyes in West End. I'd never heard of them. I'd never heard about West End or about Two Eyes. And so we all piled into somebody's brother's vehicle and we went over to the Two Eyes. Because I went there. I mean, I was gone. That was me. You know, they got me. As far as I'm concerned, what I was going to do was going to be in the Two Eyes playing music, whether or not you wanted to be or not. That was it with me, as it happens to do. Anyway, as I say, we went over to the Two Eyes. We were terrible. The band was absolutely dreadful. We were doing Donny Donegan's numbers very badly, and you know, as I say, and it was when rock and roll was beginning to take off. And Licorice Locking was on bass, he was playing string bass, and a guy called Smokey Dean, who was a drummer who sang. He was a good singer actually. And at that particular time, Licorice was working for Marty, he was playing with Marty. And so he couldn't do the Two Eyes. So somewhere down the line, I ended up doing it. And as I say, I was green as grass. I really was. I didn't know anything at all. But as luck had it, my grandfather had an enormous ear. He was a man that could listen to a piece of music on the radio and go to his piano, and in 5 minutes he would pick it out. Couldn't read music, and he would pick it out. And I inherited this ear. And that was the only thing that I had no idea about playing at all. And the guy who took me under his wing was a guy called Johnny Vance. And Johnny Vance was Vince Taylor's bass player. And he taught me how to play a 12-bar. I didn't even know what a 12-bar was. I just come from a skiffle band. And anyway, as it happened, and luckily enough, I had the aptitude to be a musician, and I learnt as much as I possibly can. Anything that came along, I was like a sponge, you know. I would take bits off of people. And I ended up working for a guy called Tom Littlewood. And Tom Littlewood was a guy who was so tight. He was, well, put it this way, he lived in Wembley, and you know how far Wembley is from it, and he used to walk home every night because he was so tight to spend his money. And he was making a fortune. It was 4 shillings. Had no central heat, no air conditioning at all. The air conditioning was that there was a hole in the back of this room. And of course, when people used to go down there, apart from that, of course, they had the stage and musical instruments and all sorts of things were there. But when it used to fill up with people, it used to fill up with so many people in there that the walls used to sweat. And they were wet. You could put your hands on them. They were absolutely wet. And when I came off the stage after playing, I could take my shirt off and wring it out. And every night, as regular as clockwork, I'd come off the stage and I'd go to the orange machine and I'd go and put a thing up. And Tom Littlewood would say, "You're not having one of them?" Do you mean I've been playing? No, you've got to pay for that. He had this charisma that he could pull people in from all over England. I mean, I first met, believe it or not, I first met Dave Berry in the Two Eyes Coffee Bar. He came all the way down to Sheffield with his band to play in the Two Eyes for nothing, because the only musicians that ever got paid, if they ever got paid, was the local band that he booked, which paid 18 shillings a night, which in those days was quite a lot of money. But he would take 10 times that amount of money on the door. And I thought there was no such thing as fire precautions in those days. If it ever had a fire in it, everybody would have been dead in 5 seconds. You know, they couldn't get out. And one day I came to my father and I said, I can't do this anymore. I want to be a musician, Dad. He said, no, you've got to stay where you are. It's apprenticeship, you know, typical dads, you know. Oh, you've got to get something under your belt. Yeah, music is no good for you. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, but that's what I'm going to do. He said, right, here's the door, out you go. And I literally got thrown out of the house. And I lived on tube trains, I lived on trains, I lived on anybody that would give me a bed for the night or even a floor for the night. And that's how I lived, because I enjoyed being a musician. So if anyone ever says to me, how did you become a musician? I should say, very hard for me, because I had to really fight to do what I wanted to do. Because my father said to me, no, you stick, son, you stick to being a machine minder. There's a lot more money in it. I said, no, I'm not interested in that. I want to be a musician.